Three times. 4 times. Doing gang things. Living super clean. Daddy came up. Can't control us. One time for the men. Doing gang things. Dead friends to the teeth. Living super clean. 3 times for my foes that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control us. 1 time for the men doing gang things. Dead friends to the teeth. Living super clean. 3 times for my foes that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control us. Look at you, you done came up now. Get it how you live. You missed the game up now. Ain't messing with your girl, but get the flame up. Hey, used to be Toby, but got your name back now. I see your page on the pressure. 25 like this. Got them all on the dresser. If it ain't for you, ain't for you. Then. And if you a lame or a sucker, wanna dress you then. On up now, pump the childish ways. Got a wife and a bunch of kids to raise. Plus a clock side hustle. You and do it to ensure that all the bills is paid. Slow clap for your homeboy. Could've turned out like your homeboy. Being on the same block, cooking up the same rock on the cell block lot with your homeboy. But no, you had vision, you had gold. Brand new you on the old time road. Take care of home where you bust your low. Black men don't cheat, screaming bumpy hoe. Real men talk, real king ways. Still in captivity, but minds ain't slave. Got a little wisdom, boy, you PD grade. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead friends to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead friends to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the folk that moved up. Even if you had a slow start screwed up. Used to gang bang, now homie brewed up. Had a little plan, I had them blew up. Look at you like a man right now. Dressed to the T, smelling like a grand right now. And you ain't got nothing from a handout now. Just faith and hard work gets it planned out now. You could've took a bunch of dusty rolls. The hand dealt with a bunch of cards to fold. To stay hot while the world is freezing cold. The same plot, but the story's never old. Slow clap for your kinfolk. Could've been asking what your info. Prosecutor could be trying to do you in for the 2020 twins, so you passing out the info. But no, you had purpose, you had plans. I ain't throwing nothing, I'ma say these bands won't impress y'all. Don't need no fans. That ain't my God. Who is that man? This real man talk, real king ways. Still in captivity, but minds ain't slave. Got a little wisdom, boy, you peep these grades. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead friends to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead friends to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up.
Angelina,
4 times cause the man can't control up.
Thank you for joining me.
Real man.
Oh, here, come on. Sheesh.
Doing gang things. Living super clean. Daddy came up.
1 time for my king doing king things. On these hoes, cause you know he got a good thing. I submit and I cook and I clean and I never hold back on that pop. I'ma let it rain. Made me honest, I got a ring. All praises to the most high, let it sing. A real man able, sister never came. And I ain't going nowhere, this is not a game. Look at you, girl, you lonely right now. Settling for bums instead of the most high. He provide and protect, so he get our respect. And he leading us aboard when them chariots fly. I don't really think you hear me though. You can't cross this bridge on some billy goats. Let them save you in the end like a Semino. BS help me, shout let the silly go.
1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead friends to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane thing.
Shalom and shalom, sisters and cousins, and praise the Lord. Saints, it's your favorite housewife, Miss Mono. Hello. Thank you all for joining me. If you're on my IG, Facebook, anywhere else, please head over to the YouTube at Monologue Magad, MONOLOG MAGAD. If you're already at the YouTube, don't forget to hit the like button, please. We need the likes to get the algorithm to show us more. So I know you may see the live chat on your screen. X out of the live chat, and then you should see the thumbs up and thumbs down. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button for me. We really, really appreciate you all for being here. First and foremost, all praises to the Most High. I just want to give him a second to just give him all the praise, all the honor, all the glory for keeping us physically, mentally, spiritually. You're here. I'm here. And subscribe. I'm sorry. Yes. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. The YouTube at Monologue Magad, MONOLOG MAGAD. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. Just get the word out there. Okay. So I read something this morning, and we're gonna talk about a few things, and then we'll get to the main topic. Give everybody some time to be here. BC Dubs, if you have not watched the Kanye interview, please watch it. Yes, I know Revolt took it down, but it's all over YouTube. Don't even worry about it. Like, it's everywhere. So please go give it a watch. Again, I don't agree with everything anyone says, okay? But as the truth that he's talking is the truth that our people need to hear. So please, with an open mind, not with your preconceived notions or biases that you've gotten from the media, please act like this is college dropout Kanye and just listen and give him a chance, okay? And speaking of that, I was watching the Young Turks clip, and now they're trying to pit Killer Mike against Kanye as like the two progressive voices for Black people, whatever. And we're not even getting into all that. Scarlet Butterfly, shalom. Again, if you're on my IG, please head over to the YouTube at Monologue Magad, MONOLOG MAGAD. This way you can hear everything, see everything, be a part of everything. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So, y'all, I read this article about a mother. I forgot where she was from. She's a young mother. She was only 30, right? And so the headline was mother. The headline was about her using the oven to heat her apartment, right? So at first glance, you're like, why are they doing this to this mother? It sounds like poverty bias. Like, it comes off like she was having trouble heating her apartment, so she was just using the oven to heat up the apartment, and the child inexplicably died. However, once you read the article, you find out that the child indeed had crack in her system when she was born. The mother has been evading CPS, although how'd you leave the hospital? How did you leave the hospital with a baby with crack in their system, and nobody said anything, and they gave you the chance to evade CPS? I don't understand that. I've seen Shalom, nobody. I've seen mothers be stopped for worse. Okay, so the baby was only 2 months old, and they said that the apartment was heated up to 89 degrees. So the baby basically sweated, dehydrated to death. That's what wound up happening. I mean, it's just thing after thing after thing. And I know you might be like, well, it goes on over the world, but once you begin to have a love for the Most High and truly know how he feels for his people, truly know his intent for us, like the way he intended to live. He intended for us to live the way he intended for us to be. It's even more heartbreaking and saddening. Um, and this isn't about a personal responsibility conversation. If you've ever talked to someone who's had a struggle with addiction, it doesn't always come down to that. Add on top of it, I don't like to say that I don't like to say cursed, because that turns a lot of people away. However, the truth of the matter is we are. If you just look at Deuteronomy 28, I mean, it's like a rundown of the plight of Black people in America. How could you not acknowledge this? So when you just see all this compounded, it's just very heartbreaking and very sad that our people are in this situation, that our babies are dying like this. So please, pray. Like, that's all. Just pray that we do what we gotta do so we can get on up out of here. It's too much. Way too much. Okay, so let's get on to the main topic. If you were looking for us last week, BC Dubs, download the Messiah TV app. We are live on Messiah TV. We were not live last week because Restream was having some issues, but this week we are back. We are live on Messiah TV. If you have not downloaded the app, download it already. It's full of great shows, not just this show, lots of other Israelite talk shows, just videos, and there are great documentaries on there, great programs for the kids, great Bible story illustrations for the kids. So check it out. It's like all around good app. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. And I titled it We Don't Know Our Roles because, like, True Moment, I don't even know what it looks like in its entirety. Okay. Um, when you come from a a place, and I don't, I don't want to just blame it on the church. It's society that teaches us. And again, I'm just saying black women because that's my experience. That's how I lived. Everything that I saw through the eyes of a black girl in America. Okay. So I don't know how this translates for anyone else, how it affects anyone else. Not at the risk of trying to make anyone feel excluded because, that's not the goal. But just so you understand where I'm coming from. Okay. This is how I saw my life as a black girl. All right. So when you are constantly bombarded with messages from the beginning that men are no good, they're unreliable, undependable, you always have to be on guard. You always have to um make sure you have your own. You always have to be, I'm gonna just say strong for lack of a better word, because that's the word that's constantly thrown at us. Um, you they are telling you without telling you to walk in a masculine energy. Okay. And I'm gonna say that because look at the look at the overall temperament of our women. On the one hand, you have the strong, independent boss chick. I'm gonna do it myself. And I'm not gonna say on the one hand because it's kind of a spectrum, okay? Because, at one time, being a woman of the night was I don't want to say laughable, but it was like not respected. Let's be clear. You a hoe, right? But now we're come to the point where sex workers are respected as a profession. Um, and I'm gonna who else can you blame but the feminist agenda? Yes, okay, so under the patriarchy, you may say is where prostitution flourished, where these things even became possible. True indeed, but that does not mean it's right. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because it's there doesn't mean that we are to participate in it. And let me talk specifically to my Black, Latino, and Native American women. We have been given different laws, different rules, different guidelines and standards from the Most High. That is definitely not for us. And in fact, again, this is the kind of behavior that has landed us in the situation that we're in now. Okay. Um,
Mrs. Mono sips tea.
so now we're at a point where we're trying to find our way back, hopefully. We're trying to find our way back to the truth of the Bible, to the truth of the Most High. Because for so long, whether you've been sitting in a Catholic church, in a Black Protestant church, in a non-denominational AME, Baptist, whatever religious background you come from, once you've come into this truth, or even once you begin to kind of just take the bricks away and start to see some of the lies, okay, now your search for the truth begins. All right. And for me personally, I've, not to brag, but I've always loved God. Like I knew that. I knew that. I knew we had a relationship. I knew I was born to do something different. Like I've always known this. But coming into the truth now, you realize that that looks different, right? Um, because at one time we're taught that loving God means to shun a husband. And I'm gonna go ahead and say that. Because what are we taught? Oh no, go to college, get your education, get your career, get yourself established. You can wait until you're 40 to have kids, right? That's what they're telling us now. Okay? Um but not explaining to you that if you wait until 40 to have kids, it's like your body doesn't even know what to do. And that's why you have all these women, having to do all this in vitro and all this fertilization treatment. Again, another way for other peoples to get rich off of our, I'm gonna call it disobedience. Um, and let me say this. This is not a show for men, okay? I'm not a man. I don't know how y'all think. I don't know what that feels like. I don't know what that is, so I cannot advise. But I will say, just from having honest conversations with my husband on both sides, we don't know how we were originally intended to live. And also considering the fact that the day and time that we live in is totally different. There was no internet. Please, do you know how much easier it would have been for Moses to get the commandments out? There was an internet. Heck, post it on Facebook. Everybody can see it. Okay. But you did not have that. Um, you did not have the media. You didn't have TV. You didn't have such quick access to secular thinking and secular mindsets. You know what I mean? You live with your tribe, with your family, and you were all on the same thing. We're all trying to keep the laws. We're all trying to do this. Um, we've gone from a time where people were stoned for breaking the law. People were excommunicated for breaking the law. And now we live in a time where people are getting rich for not keeping the law. People are getting rich for speaking against the Bible, living against the Bible, teaching against the Bible. Okay. So the world has been totally flipped upside down. I was talking to my mom today, and real quick, hit the like button. I see a few of y'all come in. Shalom and shalom. Hit the like button for me. Go ahead. Let me get that thumbs up so we can get this video rotating. Okay. I was talking to my mom today, right? And we were talking about some older black ladies. And not bad. I was just talking to her. And I was like, you know how you older black women are? And she was like, "Yeah, but," and I was like, "No." And I wasn't, trying to joke. I was like, "No, but we need y'all. We do. Um, we need the mothers back. We need the first ladies back. We need the examples of godliness, because again, we don't know what that looks like. And I hate to say it, but we're taking the Bible and applying it to 2022 lives. All right? And that can look tricky. That can look tricky. It can look hard. Um, Me personally, I'm not saying that being a housewife is submission. That's not what I'm saying. That was our plan. That's what worked for me and my husband. Me submitting to my husband is being a housewife, staying home, taking care of the kids, homeschooling. Like that's what submission looks like for us, okay? But to other people around us, I look crazy. I look crazy. I look crazy because I'm not out here trying to make my own income. I look crazy because I'm not concerned about having a secret stash that my husband doesn't know about. I look crazy because I love homeschooling my kids. I want to educate my children. But these are the things that we've been taught are like what ignorant, backwards, um dirty, like these are things that dirty poor people do. And it's crazy because even my own daughters, like my teenagers are not homeschooled. I did not have the privilege of homeschooling them. I'm gonna say that. I didn't have the luxury of homeschooling them. Okay. So they have been publicly educated. And they were going somewhere or something. And my one daughter is like, yeah, there were some homeschool kids there and they seem really normal. And we were like, "What do you like, your brothers are homeschooled and they're normal? Why?" But see, that's what the programming has done to us. This has been made to look at as inferior. When the fact of the matter is, public education is the one that's inferior. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so bogged down and washed down with a bunch of unnecessary crap from people whose goal is all right. I mean, just let's just be real. Like, when you go to school, you are being trained to work a job. And those who follow the training the best are the straight A students. And that's fine. That's fine. Um, I was a straight A student at one time. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not knocking that. That's okay. But let's not look down on others of us who choose to not go the worldly route. You know what I'm Does that make sense what I'm saying? Coming into the truth, I was lost and didn't know how to herself according to myself. Right. And that's what I'm getting at as well. Um it's hard to carry yourself that way when you have so many voices knocking you down for having a standard. Shalom, sis. Um, Once you begin to set a standard for your life, people are going to begin to try to knock that down. Because they're not ready for that standard. Okay? They're not ready for that. And you and your attempting to do good behind is just reminding them of what they are not doing. Okay? So you're gonna lose friends. We've talked about this before. Everybody's not gonna come with you on this journey. Once you dis Once you decide, you are picking sides. You're saying, "No, for Christ I live and for Christ I'll die. I'm not doing this anymore." The Bible tells us that the world will reject us. And, you know, we've been taught that the world is just on the outside. But I guarantee you, like, once you come into the truth and begin to really try to live by this Bible, you'll begin to see that the world can be very much inside your own family. Um, Me and my mom fell out a few times about biblical conversations. A few times. Um, and other people, they may not come out and state their displeasure or their disagreement or whatever, but you can tell in the little, you know how we communicate with each other when we don't like something or when we ain't, you know what I mean, feeling something that somebody else is doing. Okay. But me personally, I look at the people who are coming down on me or who even famous warrior Shalom, thank you for joining me. The people who, have little snide remarks and um just little, I don't want to say hateful, but just little nasty comments and little, you know how we do. If we don't agree with something, we looking at them crazy, like, oh, I don't know what they on over there. Um, some people will say, oh, you're taking it too far. It don't take all that. But the fact of the matter is, no one knows what it takes because we have not reached that state of us keeping our end of the bargain. We've not been there. We've not come to a place as Black people where we can say, okay, we've got a handle on our culture. You've got people out here dictating our culture to us. Black culture. Black is a color. Hip hop culture. Do you hear a country culture? Do you hear a heavy metal culture? Like, is any other group of people labeled with a type of music for their culture? I hate to see things on TV like the Friday Night Vibes thing they do on TBS, A Night for the Culture. What is cultural about a movie? And Tiffany Haddish being all loud on screen. What is cultural about that? What it's not making any sense. And see, something Kanye said in his interview, and I've always felt that way. I too am jealous of other people that have a culture. I've always been jealous of other brown people. Even Italians, they have their culture, they have their families, they're tight knit, they have their foods, they get together often to celebrate, they keep their feast days, be they pagan, they still keep them. They don't just do Christmas, it's the Feast of the Seven Fishes. It's gosh, I forgot what else. But they're they have a culture, they have a history. They know their story. They know their mythology. We call it mythology, they call it religion. The world knows the Greek Bible. You've heard of Zeus and the the pantheon, the Greek pantheon, okay? You know that. You know the Roman pantheon. You know of the goddess Diana. You know that. But you do not come and you do not even get taught about Yahushua until you yourself begin to reach for that knowledge because they're teaching us about a false Jesus. So now, and like for me, my journey was over years. Um, Living in the North, and this is one thing I appreciated about living in the North. Living in the North is not so Bible Belt, as most of you know, I'm sure. Um, you the majority of Black people that claim, Christianity, traditional Black church is slim compared to the South. In the South, you're not going to get much pushback. Everybody goes to church. Everybody celebrates Easter. Everybody celebrates Christmas. Everybody does Lent. Everybody love their pastor. Everybody love their church. Like, it's just a thing, okay? But when you get to the North and you have people asking you questions, that is what made me sit down and think. Like, I always wanted to love God for myself. For myself, not because of what my mom said, not because of anything like that. I knew our relationship was personal. So when people start asking me, well, how do you celebrate Christmas when your Bible says this? And well, where did Cain go if they were the only people in the world? Um, when people start asking you these questions and your heart is really sincere towards the Most High, it's mind boggling. Let me tell you from me. Because, first of all, how dare you question God? Because I was raised that you don't question God. You don't question God and you don't question the pastor. Okay. These two entities are beyond reproach. So to hear people even asking how I'm celebrating Christmas and how I'm celebrating Easter, to hell with you. Who are you talking to? It really took me back, okay? But once I calmed down And, a few more experience outside of Black people. I had a coworker, and we talked all the time. Her mother was Italian Catholic and her father was Hindu. And in my ignorance at the time, I felt it was my duty as a Christian, as we're all told, it was my duty to bring everyone to Jesus, bring the world to Jesus, right? So we talk, and I would discuss like my religious experiences with her. I would discuss like my religious experiences with her and stuff like that. And she would tell me, well, when I pray to my God, he answers my prayers too. So, it's these things that made me go back and look and say, wait a minute, something's not right here. Like, other people have answers to these questions. Okay. So it's kind of like a starting over. You have to be willing to come as children, as the Bible says. And I never understood that before, right? But once you are willing to put down all your preconceived notions, you realize that. And now we're at the point where it's like, okay, Yahweh, tell me what to do. Tell me where to go. Um, it can be it's hard when you don't have confirmation of the knowledge that you're coming into, of the truth that you're coming into. It can be hard. Again, because we don't know what it looks like to live it, right? Especially if you're trying to live it in a family by yourself. Like if you're the only one in your household trying to keep a Sabbath, I'm sure I know that that's a struggle. I've heard stories from people being in a household with people who were celebrating holidays and how that looks. Um so I hate to say it, but we kind of do have to reinvent the wheel. We have to reinvent the wheel because we've come into this knowledge of the truth. And until we can get enough women sharing their life, sharing their testimony, we are left to really stumble in the dark. Because again, there's practical knowledge and there's theoretical application. All right. So, as a single woman, you have to decide what this looks like for you. Because as a married woman, this is something you and your husband are going to come together on. Okay? As a married woman, it's not up to you. It's up to your husband to decide, and then it is up for you to follow. Okay? But this is why I say, sisters, you have to know the truth before you start trying to court and before you start trying to get married. Does keeping the Sabbath look the same for you as it does for him? Some people do different things. Are you okay with how he lives? Or is that going to cause an argument later on? You know? What does congregating look like? Are you okay with the way he congregates, the frequency of his congregation? This is something that you have to decide. What a man expects of you is going to dictate the rest of your life when you are determined to be an obedient married woman. And I know a lot of people don't want to accept that. And again, though, here we go, because from what I gather, there was no singleness intended. I don't believe we were ever intended to live alone. I believe you were intended to go from your father's house to your husband's house. Okay. And the only reason we think something is wrong with that now is because we've been told that, ooh, we're missing this great big wild time in our life. When in fact, this great big wild time in our life, known as adolescence in your 20s or whatever, ends in nothing but sin, nothing but heartache, abortions, suicides, addictions, all kind of craziness. So really, what are we missing here? as someone who has not always made the best decisions, and even some decisions that I made, might have been all right, but I assure you that there's nothing out there that you're missing but a bunch of heartache and a bunch of disappointment and a bunch of setbacks and everything else. There's nothing out here in these streets, okay? Adolescence was a concept that was developed. This was a developed concept. There was no such thing as adolescence. Like, you went through puberty in the privacy of your own home. It wasn't everybody's business. But now we've told people that, oh, if you don't experience this, then you don't live a full life. Why does my child need to be taken away from my home to be educated so that they can be shown what secular living looks like? Think about it. Why else take the child from the home? Whenever people have been conquered and enslaved, it's always the youngest that are taken. Some studies on the transatlantic slave trade said that they were taking people 20 and younger. Why? Because the older folks was already set in their ways. They already had their grasp of the truth. They knew right from wrong. So now let me remove your younger ones so I can bring them over here and show them the way that I want them to live. Show them the way that I want this to look. In the North, you will see a lot of Black women hijabbed. And at first, it may seem like it's a bit too much. But when you understand the spirit of the thing, I can kind of dig it, okay? Because we have no sense of modesty. I don't even want to say a twisted sense of modesty. I'm going to say we have no sense of modesty at all. So it's kind of like you have to be that extreme. Not only that, but we walk around with lawless people. And here's what I still cannot for the life of me grasp. Men are walking around without self-control. Nope, women too, because these women these days is on something else. We are aware that there are human beings walking around here without self-control. Okay? Why we continue to fight the thing that the Most High gave us to like combat that is beyond me. It's beyond me. Modesty. Okay, hear me out. Modesty is not up for you to decide. Okay. And I'm going to say this because you will have women that will say, I can be half naked and I'm still modest. I'm not showing pride in myself. I'm not whoring myself. This is just how I'm comfortable dressing. You should ask yourself, why are you comfortable dressing like a whore? Like, come on. I don't know how many of y'all ever got involved in stuff in school, but they used to have dress for success day where you would wear your slacks, your blouse. You would come to school dressed in the profession that you were hoping to go on, or you would come to school dressed the way that reflected the life that you hope to live. So how come you'll believe in dress for success, but you don't believe that you can dress for whoredom?
Mrs. Mono sips tea.
I mean, everybody else has a uniform. Cops have uniform. Firefighters have uniforms. A nurse, when you see one, she has on her scrubs. The dentist, they'll have on their scrubs. The doctor comes in with a white coat. What do whores wear? I purposely, as a married woman, do not get all dolled up when I go out. I make myself presentable because people know my husband. So you know what I mean? I don't want to be out here looking crazy. So I have myself presentable, but I don't put on makeup. I don't do the razzle dazzle. I don't do that when I'm going out without my husband. Why? I'm not out here trying to attract anybody's attention. Ma'am, sis, cousin, please listen to me. Married women, single women. If you know your limits, sis, you know, okay? Some of y'all know if y'all got out here looking cute and the wrong dude walk up in the wrong car playing the wrong music, you gonna forget that you came into the knowledge of the truth and you gonna go back. You know this. Dress accordingly. I have a sister, um, and she told me, she's like, no, I can't wear makeup. She's like, the attention gets me going. Her and her husband had issues in their marriage before, and she just, I can't wear makeup. I can't deal with the attention. That's cool. That's open. That's honest. So guess what? Modesty and obedience looks like for her. Hair pulled back, no makeup on, covered. And I honestly, I'm gonna say this, and this is just my opinion, but I feel like as married women, we should be more demure when we step out without our husbands. Who are you trying to attract? What are you trying to do? I feel like, and see, here we go with carrying yourself, okay? Because men don't approach me. They, they don't. But that's always been like that. I've always been that kind of person. Like, we could be out with a group and nobody, I'm the last one to get talked to or whatever. But let's be clear, I'm not saying this from like oh woe is me. No, not oh woe is me. Whoa, there she is, okay? Because I don't give off regular vibes. All right. I know this. So, but even now as a married woman, I'm still don't give off regular vibes. Plus, the way my husband talks to me and loves on me and everything else, please, I can't, nigga, please, okay? Nigga, please. And that's saying it nicely. I got nothing for nobody else. So when I go out, I'm not trying to draw attention to myself when I do go out. Sweatpants, t-shirt, fringes, zeets, whatever, hair in a ponytail. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Sometimes I go out in a bonnet. Why? Because I don't care to attract anybody else. I'm not saying people don't look at me. I'm beautiful. People are gonna look. But the way you carry yourself determines how they're looking at you. All right. Now, if I'm out like this every day, going to Kroger, whatever, handling my business, I look like I'm out here trying to catch. Go ahead. Let's type about it. Talk it out. Please. Let's have it in the chat. Shalom, Mr. Ramirez. If you are on my Instagram, please head over to the YouTube at Monologue Magad, MONOLOGMAGAD. If you're on the YouTube, if you see the live chat, hit the little X and you'll be able to see the thumbs up button. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. You can go right back to the live chat. Just need that thumbs up from y'all. Okay, so yeah, as a married woman, I feel like it's my obligation to be more demure. Not just out of loyalty to my husband, but let's be real, out of love for my sisters. Like, how hard must it be to be single and you got married woman out here competing with you too? You know what I'm saying? That's just crazy. Head coverings, that's between you and your husband. That's what I'm gonna say about everything. That's between you and your husband. What we do here at the House of Mono is what what my husband is comfortable with. But however your husband is leading you, ma'am, sis, cousin, that's what you do. um, so I mean, it must be really frustrating, to be a single woman out here trying to get a man, and you got these married whores, um, trying to get a man, and they got one at home. I was watching Married to Medicine. Don't shoot me. Don't shoot me. I was watching Married to Medicine and they brought in a sex therapist and this lady's talking about how she has 3 boyfriends and a husband. You nasty heifer. You nasty heifer. again, this is something that nobody wants to realize, but the fact of the matter is we women are like the soil, okay? I'ma just say it. Nobody wants a lock that anyone can unlock. Nobody wants to unlock that any key can open. A period, sis. Period. I don't need nobody else looking at me. I don't want nobody else looking at me. Hi, how you doing? Bye, keep it moving. And maybe that's why nobody tries to talk to me, because I don't get nobody the time of day. See you. You hold the door open for me. Thank you. And I keep it moving. I'm not giving off desperate vibes. And some of y'all do. Even some of y'all married women is still giving off these vibes. If you weren't, you wouldn't have all this going on. If you weren't giving off these vibes, maybe your husband wouldn't be so insecure. But you don't even, you so content with it, you so comfortable with it that you don't even realize that this is what you're doing. The standard that the Most High has set for his women is astronomically higher than anything that the world could ever imagine. His ways are not our ways, his thoughts are not our thoughts. So in all actuality, I've come to terms with the fact that if we were to really live the way God intended, that there might be some stuff there that I might be like, "Oh Lord, really?" And that's okay, because the goal is to get back to obedience. The goal is to have the Most High pleased with me. So Lord, if this is what this looks like, then okay. I I'm with it. Sometimes it's not easy saying yes to your husband. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you might really want to do a thing, or you might really want to go, or you might really just, it's, sometimes it's not easy. That's what obedience is. So again, you know what I'm saying? Single women, know the truth. Know your truth. And I'm saying your truth, but I mean the truth of the Bible, cuz it's yours. You know what I mean? It's just that's what people like to say these days, your truth. Know the truth. Know the truth of the Bible, know the truth of God. Know how that is applied to your life before you start courting and getting married. Because once you are married, honey, you got a whole other issue. Okay? Because once you lay down with this man, that's it. You can't lay down with nobody else. This needs to be the attitude going in. See, we've gotten so conditioned to believe that divorce is just, oh well, I'll get married, and if I don't like it, then I can leave. See, that's and I'm not even gonna say it sounds good, because it don't, okay? But in your head, that might sound like it could work. But as someone who stayed in a relationship way too long, let me assure you, things start to happen that you don't mean to happen. Your lives become intertwined. You get pregnant. Now, whether you like it or not, you're stuck with this man for the rest of your life. You know, too many things can happen that are out of our control. You can make a decision, but you cannot decide the consequences of that decision. I chose to marry my husband, but the direction of our life is not up to me. It's not up to me. While we don't have a clear understanding, because even among sisters with the best of intentions, there can be discrepancies. And again, the advice of the House of Mono, the advice from Miss Mono is always going to be whatever your husband said. Whatever your husband said. Ma'am, sis, cousin, I'm not the one to give you nothing contrary. That is not my place. And far be it from me to have to answer to the Most High for that. No, ma'am, what your husband said. You want to know what obedience looks like for you? What your husband said. What does your role look like? What your husband said. You don't like what he said, then you need to go to management. Who's management? The Most High. That's just that right there. But let me tell you now, it is your job to have joy in your step. It is your job to complete every step of that obedience with a smile in your face and joy in your heart, okay? I'm sorry if that's hard. Sometimes it is. But that's just the way it looks. You see what I'm saying? Like, we've gotten so concerned with what feels good to us, what we want to do, that we forget the reason for order. We forget the reason for family. We forget the reason for guidelines. We forget the fact that there are people coming up behind us who need an example. And that's why I'm saying bring back the mothers, please. We need rule keepers. I realized something just over the course of time, because I'm not really one for pomp and circumstance. I'm not. I don't like to go to long term. Listen, I can't tell y'all the last time I've been to a wedding, because I don't want to sit through all that. I'm sorry. My husband says I need to work on my patience. I know I do. I don't want to sit through all that. Okay. Like, can y'all just say I do and we go eat? Okay. I'm not that person. But however, as I'm learning more, I'm starting to see why these things are done, why these things are necessary, why the separation is necessary. And when it's done in a worldly matter, it looks like black elitism. It looks like boule type behavior, if you understand what I'm saying. That's what it can look like. But I think what we have to understand is the Most High called us to be set apart. He gave us the law, statutes, and commandments so that we could be set apart. Like, I don't know if you realize this, but back in the days of the Bible, everybody was brown. Everybody was brown. There were no white people as far as I know it. You know what I'm saying? Within my knowledge, there weren't white people. That was not a thing to separate people. It was how you lived, how you dressed, how you wore your hair. You know what I'm saying? Those were the things that separated us. This is why you have Israelites being mistaken for Egyptians and other races and stuff like that, okay? So we need these things to keep us separate. I mean, and I hate to keep going here, but how do you know a hoe is a hoe? By how she's dressed. You go in the strip club, and I bind that up, but I just mean like back in the day when we used to go in the strip club, okay, in Atlanta, early 2000s, everybody went to the strip club, guys and girls, everybody went there. So if we're all in this place together, how am I supposed to know who's working here? They're gonna look like they work here. When you go to the club, how am I supposed to know who's the waitress? She looks like the waitress. She's dressed like the rest of the waitresses. She looks like she works here. Well, how am I supposed to know you call yourself being a lawful woman of God? Do you look like it? How am I supposed to know that you consider yourself set apart, and do you have standards? Do you look like it? And see, here's where we've gotten so confused and mixed up with this world. We think that name brands mean standards. We think that just because you got the latest Teflon, the Balenciaga, the Gucci, the Jordans, the Nike, the whatever, the Yeezy, we think that this means that, oh, you have a standard. Oh, look at him, look at her. She's too good for me. No, that just means that you somehow was able to afford this stuff. And listen here, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I don't knock fake stuff. I don't at all, because I saw this polo purse that I want so bad, but that one is like $800. I'm not giving Ralph Lauren $800. I'm not giving Ralph Lauren $800. Not after what Kanye said. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. But this is how we've been taught. This is what we've been taught to look for in people, right? The good people, the good the sophisticated ladies, you know, all the boss chicks and all this other stuff. This is how we have been taught to set ourselves apart by name brands, by, you know, making it look like we have money. And when you think about it, you're not dressed like you have money. You're dressed like you spend money. You're dressed like you spend money. Cause, and again, I'm not saying this about everybody, okay? But and especially you single ladies, them jeans that you think is so fly that you seen him in, ask him when the last time he washed them, child. Ask him, ask him when the last time he washed them. That polo shirt, check the collar for dirt. Where he live? Where his mama live? What they living like? See, just because somebody knows how to present well doesn't mean that they are living well. You got a lot of people out here faking and fronting, and they'll be polo down. I'm just saying polo because we in Atlanta and it's just what everybody wear. They will be polo down, living in a shack, sleeping on the floor. Driving good, living in a shack, sleeping on the floor. Now, ma'am, sis, cousin, I know what you about to say. Oh, some of them just need a little help. True, but you know the difference. But the problem is we don't bother to look behind the curtain. And I'm talking about even for those who we think are keeping the law. Look behind the curtain. What does this man's fruit look like? How does he treat other people? That thing about how you treat service people is very true. It's very, very true. How does he treat the waiter? How does he tip? Does he tip? That now listen, that says a lot to me. These are the things that you need to be looking at. This is when you decide what your life looks like. If you understand what I'm saying. We have been fed this fairy tale, right? That oh, true love solves everything. True love takes care of everything. If you just find your one true love, let me just first say that this lie has come from people who have multi-generational wealth. So they're not worried about money because in their world, everybody has money. Okay, that's just one thing we need to consider. The other thing I would ask you to consider is, ma'am, sis, cousin, when the last time you ever put true love on a bill?
Mrs. Mono sips tea.
When the last time you went to Georgia Power or you wrote to Georgia Power and was like, well, me and my husband are really in love. So if that could help keep the lights on, that would be great. Xfinity don't accept love. The water people don't accept love. The trash people don't accept love. I can't buy a car, but that's just the truth. And I know nobody wants to hear that. But if we're going to start being real, we're going to have to deal with the fact that we need provision to live in this world. Ma'am, sis, cousin, I'm talking to my sisters. Decide how you want to live. Some women don't have a problem being providers, want to be providers, love their careers, and that's fine. Find you a husband that's okay with letting you do that. But some of y'all, like myself, would prefer to be home with your children, serving your family full time. You need to know that and you need to be able to express that. This is what I want my life to look like. Now, Sometimes we make mistakes. I get that. Some of y'all might say, well, hey, I'm stuck in this marriage. You can still decide how you want it to look, ma'am, sis cousin. The most underutilized weapon by the Black woman is prayer. Ooh.
Mrs. Mono sips tea.
I'm going to say it again. The most underutilized weapon of the Black woman is prayer. There's a reason why people always turn to Black women. Why do you think that? It is part political propaganda now. Oh, Black women save the world. But where did that come from? That came from just knowing that Big Mama knew how to get a prayer through. Oh, I need some help. I need to get to somebody that can pray for me. I don't know what to do. I need somebody that can pray for me. But nobody want to pray no more. You want to just pull the answers out the sky and manifest destiny some ish. And that's just not how it works. That is not a way to get your life to look the way you want it to look. And hear what I'm saying. We are not, while we do not have total free will on our lives, there are some things that you can have influence in. How do you influence it? You pray. Who else do you think you would talk to? When I'm playing my little video game, I told you I love video games, right? So when I'm playing my game and I'm in a battle and we lose that battle, now it's time for me to upgrade weapons. What's the word I'm looking for? Promote soldiers. Like now it's time for us to sharpen our skills. You know, we're gonna do whatever we gotta do to get together. But when we lose battles, instead of sharpening our weapons, spending more time in prayer, getting more time in our word, we want to act out to the people around us as if we're fighting flesh and blood. As if these people are always totally in control of what they're doing, what they're thinking, and how they're acting. You cannot just proceed through life on your own agenda. You can't come up with your own plan and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Have you heard the saying, when man plans, God laughs? And I'm not saying that you can't get some of the things you want. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is you have to understand that your source is the Most High God, point blank and period. And if it's not from him, then you're not going to have it. Oh, you might get some things that are not from him, but I guarantee you it will bring you misery and destruction. We don't know our roles. None of us do. I'm not even sure mine. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Sure, I've been told all my life, yes, you're gonna grow up, you're gonna evangelize, you're gonna preach the word of God, you're gonna prophesy, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. But, when we were in church, I thought that looked one way. I thought that looked like me being the Juanita Bynum of my time, traveling to and fro, preaching the gospel. But no, that's not what it looks like. It looks like this. It looks like me on a podcast. You know what I'm saying? You grow up thinking that it's going to look one way. Okay. But once you let the Most High really get his hand in there, it's going to be what you need and what he needs you to be. If you understand what I'm saying? When the Most High I'm not going to say when he calls you, because that's before the foundation of the earth. When you submit, And yeah, I'm gonna say it like that because you know, I I we didn't grow up lawless. I made a lot of bad decisions. I did. Um, but I knew it was wrong. You understand what I'm saying? I wasn't out there just like lost, and I knew what I was doing was wrong. When you decide to come out your wrongdoing, it can be hard to accept that a lot of things have to change. Even the things that you may not have exactly correlated with your wrongdoing. Some some women can't handle having a career and being a wife. I'm gonna be honest with you. Um, for whatever reason, some women just can't do that, and that's okay. You need to know that. Um, some women just want a career. Now, let me say that if you're one of these women running around talking about I don't need a man, I don't need a man, but every time you got a boyfriend, you're lying. That's not what I don't need a man looks like. I don't need a man looks like you don't want to like you don't need a man, like you just single and content being single, then be that. Be that, but don't lie. Don't be out here dating, ruining yourself, ruining relationships, and then say you don't need a man. That's not cool. For me, for me, I think I think that with the state that the black family is in, we can't afford to have this disdain toward the family that we have. Um, it's like the conventional family is frowned upon these days. It's like if you got a mom and dad and some kids, like, oh, we're the weird ones. Somebody told me one time, you should get a job, but you won't get a job because you like being around your kids all day. Is that a crime? Is that wrong? Is this not my role as a mother? Thank you. Thank you, sis. Thank you for telling the truth. Thank you. Thank you. Physically, physically, I was working 12, 14-hour days, okay? I remember being at work wanting to do nothing more than be home with my children. Spiritually, mentally, Imma just be honest with y'all, and this is my testimony. This is me. This is not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying this for nobody else or whatever. If I'm out here working 12, 16 hours a day, I'm not gonna wanna come home and cook and clean. I'm not. Imma just keep it funky. I know me. If I'm working 12, 16 hours a day, I'm in career woman mode. I wanna see a maid or something when I come home. I don't wanna have to come home and cook, and it's hard to do that. And, we've been so conditioned to believe that it's normal to go out here, work 8 to 10. First of all, you're getting up at the butt crack of dawn, way before you would normally wake up. Go out here, give somebody your whole day, because that 8 to 10 hours, that's your whole day once you think about it. Now you're exhausted. Okay, you're exhausted and you're expected to come home, do homework, spend time with your kids, spend time with your husband, handle your wifely duties, cook a meal, clean up. Let me explain something to you, man, not ma'am's cousin. Let me speak on behalf of my sisters. Cleaning a house can take all day, okay? And my house doesn't get like filthy from day to day, but we live here. I get up, I cook. I have to wash the dishes for that. They want lunch. There's dishes after that. They want dinner. I got to clean up after that. These people wear clothes every day. I got to clean that up. There's bathrooms to clean. There's always something to do. There's always something to do and something you could be doing. And I realized that without the marvels of modern technology, it would take even longer than it does. Like, thank God I don't have to go to a well and pump water. Woo, that would be crazy, right? So and I'm gonna say redefining, yes, in redefining our roles for our everyday life. The first matter of that is learning the law and how we should be living. And I know a lot of y'all's like, oh, you keep harping on the masculinity thing, but it's true how a lot of us is walking around here like men, like with this masculine brolic energy. The Most High did say that it wasn't good for man to be alone, but he didn't send him a beast that he had to tame. That's another thing. Oh, nobody can handle me. You're not an animal to be handled. This is not Siegfried and Roy. You are not a white tiger. No one should have to handle you. No one should have to handle you. Now, I refrain from saying no one should have to train you because hear me out, okay? My husband had to train me. All right? And first and foremost, I had to be willing to take the correction, okay? But he had to correct me. And here's something else that nobody likes to talk about. When you get married to a man, you are now to conform to that man. Y'all leave and cleave. You're not to be concerned with what your mother and them have to say. And ma'am, sis cousin, let me just say this. A lot of us, our mothers are not even married to advise us. And I'm going to just go ahead and say it. And I know some people think that, oh, anybody can advise anyone. Let me assure you that that is a lie. Because there are just certain things that a single woman does not understand about being a married woman. It's easy for a single woman or even an unhappily or an unobediently married woman to say, oh, I wouldn't put up with that. I would do this and I would do that. As a happily married woman, let me say that a lot of that is a bunch of crap. Women get in my ear all the time. You should have your own money. Why you don't have your own money? Ma'am, sis cousin, I do. It's ours together. Now, as a housewife, this is me personally speaking. I thank God for my husband because he does keep me abreast of our finances. We talk about everything, okay? And also I'm the one that pays the bills. I get on the computer and push the buttons, so I know where everything is, okay? When you are dating and courting, have this conversation. Because unfortunately, some women get married and their husband does not feel that they need to be abreast of their financial situation at all. Some of them feel like, well, as long as you got your little spending money and the lights are on, you should be happy. And I'm not saying that's wrong, ma'am, sis cousin. The lights is on, the mortgage or the rent is paid. Ain't nobody coming to your door to put you out. Y'all got food. Your kids got clothes. Praise the Lord and praise that man. But for those of y'all who are single, have this conversation. Figure out how you feel about that. it was hard for me when I first got married after being single for so long to give my husband control of our finances, but I knew I was horrible with money. Horrible with, like, I have a spending problem. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I should have way more money than I do, but I have a spending problem. Okay, but thank God for my husband being diligent with our finances, and thank God for him being open with me and talking to me about this and sharing this with me. Okay, listen, ma'am, sis, cousin, if you know you got a spending problem and this man has a spending problem, reconsider. Don't do it. Read some literature on the subject, please. Like, do not get with another financially irresponsible person, or you are setting yourself up for a life of poverty. I don't care how rich you are. We don't know our roles because we haven't seen them carried out. I, for one, have not in my life, my parents didn't stay married. So I didn't see that. A lot of us, our parents weren't together, so we didn't see that. Where are the submissive women that are put on a pedestal? You don't see that. These women that are on television are often living in direct opposition to the word of God, married or not. A woman is supposed to be discreet and chaste, not loud and obnoxious. You're not supposed to be in the streets all the time. Every time you turn around, you with your girlfriend. Ma'am, where is your husband? Where are your children? The goal is not to become a housewife so you can have time to sit around and gossip and not do anything else. The goal is to become a housewife so now you can devote all your time and energy into serving the Most High and serving your family. That's the goal. Look, it's hard for me too sometimes. And I keep saying that cuz I titled it "We" on purpose because I don't always know sometimes. I don't know. I thank God for the role models that I did have for my mom, for the first ladies that I set up under, for the mothers in the church, the women in the church. You know, we used to say they was doing too much, having the skirts down past their knees, but no, they wasn't. They was separating they self. I don't know, like, what your prayer life is like, but for me, it's very personal. I care about how I go before the Most High. Like, I can't just roll out the bed. I gotta go brush my teeth. I mean, that might be more for me, but you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, back in my day, I know I hear a lot of complaints about this now, but back in the day, you didn't go for a job interview dressed any kind of way, right? I had a job interview suit, the black skirt with the black blazer and a white blouse. It was just for job interviews. That's the only time I wear this, job interviews. Because this, when I dress like this is saying, hey, I'm here. You can take me seriously. I'm responsible. You know, I would do great here. So, but why do we feel like we can just come before the Most High anyway? And I know what you're saying, like, oh, well, I ain't gotta dress, but here's the thing. If if we are to pray without ceasing, um, should that not like um guide how we are conducting ourselves? You know what I'm saying? Um, if you are constantly grateful, you're not going to do certain things. Okay. If you are trying to live in a state of modesty, in a place of modesty, that's not just going to be reflected in your dress. That's going to be reflected in the behavior that you do or do not engage in. And again, like, we've gone from a standard of dressing to come as you are. And I really think the come as you are was for the inside of us. You know what I mean? When you let someone come into a place and not give that place or the purpose of that place the respect that it deserves, you begin to desecrate that place. And I know what people say, like, oh, the church is just a building. True. But if we're coming there to congregate before the Most High, then we make it something else. We make it more than that. Hey, Nikki, don't worry, girl. Shalom. Thank you for joining me. We make it that, okay? There's a listen. My daughters know the standard for our house. Okay? They know, don't go out here looking a certain way. Don't even bring that in the house. Like, they know what's acceptable and what's not acceptable in this house. They live here, which also means what? They are under my husband's covering and protection. He gonna make sure the lights is on, the mortgage is paid, that there's food here, right? But there are certain expectations on their end to enjoy these benefits. And I say it again, the greatest disservice done to us was not having the truth of what our relationship with the Most High looks like. It's a contractual, double-sided relationship. You do A, he'll do B. But it's often you do A and he do B, C, D, E, F, and G. Okay? You can't go before the Lord with a request that you refuse to get ready for. I want a husband. I want a husband. I want a husband. Do you look like you want a husband? And I know what y'all are going to say. Oh, it's not all about looks, but isn't it? But isn't it? Part of a role? If you read a script, pick up a script. Matter of fact, not even a script. Pick up a book. When you are getting introduced to a character, you're told how they look, how they dress. You're told about the quirks in their personality, what they do, what they don't do. You might learn their favorite color, their favorite food. These things are included to tell you more about a person. Like, if a person is sad, they'll tell you, oh, they often wore this dowdy blazer. Or if a person is happy, they'll tell you, oh, she likes to wear bright shoes and bright colors all the time. Why do we refuse to accept the fact that this also applies to when we are keeping the law? She's trying to live lawful, so she's covered up. You're not going to see her with her flesh hanging out, even in the summertime. Ma'am, sis, cousin, you out here trying to get a husband. Can he bring you home to his mother at any time? Can y'all be out on a date and he be like, "Oh, let's stop by my house real quick," and you not embarrassed? You ain't gotta go home and change your clothes? Because what are you looking for? A good time or a husband? And I know what you're gonna say, "Oh, it's hard competing with these girls out here," but what you have to remember is you're not competing with them. You don't want what they want. You want something different.
Mrs. Mono sips tea.
You don't want what they want. So you're not gonna be out here looking like them. Yes, the high hanging fruit is the hardest, but it's the freshest, okay? It's gonna be the juiciest. It's untouched. I know it's hard to have standards. It's lonely having standards. I get it. Man, I just wanna have fun. I just wanna hang out. I just wanna No, ma'am, sis, cousin, that ain't for everybody. I have one daughter who is the life of the party. Everywhere she goes, she makes friends, okay? If she step in a room, by the time she leave, everybody gonna know her name and they're gonna be calling her tomorrow to hang out. That's just the kind of person she is. I have another daughter who's more like me. She'll go in a room, and if it's not a business event, you might not even know she there. She might talk to one or two people. They both are comfortable in their roles, and neither one tries to be the other. My child who's not a socialite is not going to do well in social events. That's not her thing, and I get it. I'm the same way. I have a socializing limit. I talk to my husband about this all the time. I, when it comes to social events, only so many per week, cuz I'm that's just how I am. Like, people take from me. Being around a crowd is not energizing. You know what I'm saying? It's expansive to me. So I need that time to retreat. If I don't know this about myself and I'm not prepared to take care of myself in that fashion, now I burn myself out. I'm angry. I'm lashing out at people. I'm abusive. I'm mean. I'm nasty. Nobody wants to be around that. My fruit is spoiled and ill spoken of. I'm embarrassing my husband. This is a part of knowing your role. Thanks, sis, all the time. Like, I can't do it back to back. I cannot do it back to back. You might get 2 out of me and then up, that's it. I need to be under the blanket somewhere and just recharging. But know this. Know your role, or stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. You get burnt out trying to be other people. You get burnt out when you don't know your role. One thing that um stands out to me about certain people, first and foremost, I noticed it in the Bible. Whenever any No, I'm not gonna say. No, for the most part, Yahushai was always very direct about who he was. It was never well, what do you think? Or, well, I don't know. It was always, I am this, and this. When my husband talks to people, he has no problem telling them, this is what I do. This is what my family does. These are the businesses we own. I'm this, I'm that. I've been on Billboard. I've charted. He has no problem saying this about himself. And I've come to realize that you have to be okay with telling people your role. You have to be okay with I have to be okay with saying, yes, I'm a housewife. I homeschool. I help my husband run our businesses. I have to be okay with saying that, because if I'm not saying that, first of all, anybody can say whatever they want about me. And then secondly, if I don't know my role, then what am I doing? What am I doing? How am I explaining myself to people? How am I explaining that life is better over here if I don't even know my purpose for being over here? If I don't know what this walk looks like, how am I explaining how it's better over here? Oh, thank you so much, famous warrior. Thank you. I can't win a sister to the truth if I don't look any different. If I'm not vibing any different, if my fruit not any different, what's so special about what you're doing? You understand what I'm saying? I can't sit here and speak against the ills of witchcraft and tarot cards and psychics if I'm not telling you what's better about keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. If I don't know that, if I cannot tell, like I said before, how do I know that the Bible is true? How do I know that what God says is my life is a testament to this? I can tell you that my life is a testament to this. I'm not going off anybody else's testimony. I'm not telling you what he did for my mama and them 30, 40 years ago. No, I'm going to tell you about what he just did for me today. I'm going to just tell you about how my child was just out at Clark Atlanta on Saturday and they was shooting from all directions, but she made it home. She made it home unharmed. I'm going to tell you about what I know and my role in this thing. How can I prepare you for your role? How can I help equip you to teach someone else if I can't even tell you myself? How? You know, they say those that can't teach, but that's a lie because you have to be able to do it in order to tell someone how to do it. I had an anatomy teacher or professor in college, and he said, you do not know something until you can explain it to someone else like a little kid. But if I can't break it down to you like a kid, then what am I doing? And let me also say this. You will never know your role, get comfortable in your role, be an example in your role if you're still straddling the fence. You have to be in this thing wholeheartedly with all of your heart, all of your mind, and all of your soul, striving every day to live as the Most High would have us to live. And again, I understand that's hard being a woman because everything in society is telling us that we're crazy if we're stay home. You know, we're soft because we're dependent on a man. We're setting ourselves up for failure. But let me assure you, obedience to the Most High is never a setup for failure. Okay? It is never a setup for failure. And hear what I'm saying. You single sisters, take your time. Know yourself. Know who you are. Know your role. Know what it looks like for you before you go out here trying to marry a man. Before you call yourself courting. You are subject to his interpretation of the truth. You are subject to how that looks like for him. If that man say he wants your head covered when you go out, honey, you better go out here and find you the prettiest head coverings and pins that you can find. I don't do everything for my man. Well, you don't expect to be married long, I gather. My husband said he wanted my hair natural. Boom, boom. Okay, here are the curls. My husband said he like a certain color on my nails. Okay, this is what my man likes. Married women, y'all refuse to assimilate to your husband and then wonder why there's contention in your home. Anything with two heads is a monster. It is not going to function. They disconnect Siamese twins and they were born that way. You understand what I'm saying? Like there cannot be two heads. But single sisters know who you are so you know if you're compatible with this man's vision. Okay, if your man is a homebody and you know you like to be out, reconsider. If you well, I'm a homebody. No, we're both homebodies, really we are. But these are things you need to know. Do he want to chill with you? Do he want to be up in the house with you? Is that your idea? And if that's not his idea, then you need to know that. He may enjoy a career that allows him to travel and live different places for years at a time. If you want to stay inside 285 for the rest of your life, you need to know that. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I, as a military child, like I didn't like that. I wish that I had, like grown up somewhere with the same set of friends or whatever. But all praises to the Most High. That was, the life He had for me. And I see the benefits of it now. Actually, I am happy about it because I feel like it helps me, to relate to other people, whatever. Okay. So, but these are the things that you need to know. You need to know this before you call yourself conjoining or being one with someone else, especially before you start trying to bring children in the picture. Because again, man, we have been guilty of setting horrible examples for our children. And even me and my husband, we've had to work on it. We do not argue in front of our kids anymore. It took us a minute, but it was really seeing my 7-year-old's reaction. I was like, oh no, I'm not doing this to him. I do not want him to see, because I grew up like that, being scared when my parents would argue. And I don't want to do that to my child. So, and it's to the point now where even the kids would be like, mommy, daddy, and we just walk away. Because they need to see differences being resolved, but they need to see it being done in a peaceful manner. And they still need to see mommy being obedient to daddy, being obedient to the Most High. They still need to see daddy being compassionate toward mommy. They still need to see that daddy brings mommy's flowers when she cries. They need to see that. Our men are not taught emotional reciprocation because they never see it. So they don't know how to react. We don't know what our roles look like. But now we have come into the knowledge of the truth, and it is time for us to start applying them, to start figuring this thing out, not just for us, but most importantly for our children, for however long the Lord may tarry. Who knows how many years, generations we have left. But what I do know is I'm tired of seeing Black kids struggle. I love watching my kids run around the house and play with no worries. I am not waking them up before dark to throw them some clothes on, to take them to a daycare center, leaving them with strangers. I'm not doing that. My kids are home. They're free. Sometimes they wear their pajamas all day. I feel personally, as Black men, they go through so much in the world. Man, I just want my boys to have this time to be boys. I just want them to have this time. When you understand the responsibility that this man is going to have to carry later on in his life, I just want him to have this time in his life. To be a kid, to be free, to be happy. Because then you know what? When he has kids, then he'll know how his kids are supposed to live too. He won't think that it's right for his kids to be schlepped to and fro and trying to put them on medication because you want a 4-year-old to sit still. And listen, I'm not saying that my kids run amok. No, there's order and there's rules. But they are not under the influence of another teaching. You understand what I'm saying? When we start school, we give all praises to the Most High. We pray. They are not under the influence of a society that's telling them, oh, let's leave God out of this. There's no, they don't go to a building every day where people are celebrating Halloween and they have to feel left out. Like, well, why I can't? What's wrong with me? They are very firm in what they understand of the law so far. Even to the point of if you show them some meat and they don't know, they will ask you, is that pork? What is that? I'm an Israelite. I don't eat pork. And they'll tell you that straight up. Straight up. And even when they hear other people in our family say that they eat pork, they'll be like, why? They act like, why? Why do this one eat pork? Are they an Edomite? They not an Israelite? What's wrong with them? Why they eat pork? We are trying to hold on, not trying, we are holding on to the law, statutes, and commandments so that our sons will not have to figure this out from scratch. They will not have to figure out, okay, what does the Sabbath look like? How do we apply this to our lives? How do we observe the feast days? And again, we're not doing anything in perfection. All any of us are doing are rehearsing these righteous acts. We don't know. Okay. I'm sure back in Feast of Tabernacles, it was not as lit as Feast of Tabernacles be. Okay. We got all these crazy tents and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Things were different, but we have to figure out how that looks in this day and time. And it has to be our mission, first and foremost, to carry that out. More than anything, man, once you get yourself right, more than anything, you should want to start being an example. Our women are lost out here. Our women are so lost, looking for answers in other things, thinking that it's okay to lay up with more than one man at a time. Physiologically, that is just that is just disgusting. And we've got to acknowledge that the Most High intended for us to have way more. Way more. You can't be a wife and a city girl. You can't be modest and a city girl. You can't. The two don't go. You're mixing two different roles and you're living in confusion. I have wife questions a lot. I would like to have a older housewife who lived this life to go to for advice, to ask questions, but I don't. Literally figuring this thing out day by day. All praises to the Most High for his guidance. But now once I get this figured out, now I'm passing it on. Even as I'm talking to y'all right now, the little bit that I do have figured out, I'm passing it on. So now let's take this and let's build on this. Let's figure out how life is supposed to be. How are our daughters supposed to be living? Let's set them on a different path. I'm teaching my sons right now, no sex until marriage. I don't want a bunch of grandchildren out here that I don't know. No sex until marriage, son. Do not give your strength. What is that in Proverbs? Do not give your strength to strange women. We don't know our roles because we've been too busy trying to live other people's roles. Everybody want to be a baller. Everybody want to be a drug dealer. Everybody want to be a pimp. Everybody want to be a hoe. Everybody want to be a hot girl. Everybody want to be a boss chick. Who wants to be a man or woman of God for real? No, for real. Not God with a T at the end. I mean for real. Law keeping, statute abiding, fruit bearing. Fruit bearing. I think that's what we forget. Your role will produce fruit. What fruit are you producing? Is your home full of contention because you're being cantankerous towards your husband? I don't care what he doing. We not here about him, ma'am, sis cousin. If you want to ask a man a question, please feel free to DM me or DM my husband. Or when he come in here sometimes like he do, y'all can ask him questions. He don't mind. I'm not here about him. I'm here about you though. What are you doing? Because even in him doing what you don't like or what you may feel like is not right, you still have a power. You still have the power to go before the Most High and to plead your case and to, with an open heart, let him work on you. Because You can't change him. All you can change is you. And sometimes that doesn't feel fair because it's like, well, I'm not the one doing anything wrong. You're the one with the knowledge. You're the one with the impetus to seek out a solution. Again, Mam's cousin, my single sisters. This is why you have to have a man that is in tune with the Most High. But either way, the heart of the king is in his hands and he turns it how he will. So that's who you need to be talking to. Our role is not to be out here trying to be men. Our role is to be the soft, gentle, quiet, discreet, chaste, cooperative, feminine, presentable looking ladies, daughters, wives, and sisters that he has called us to be. Your role is not, and it's not going to look the same for everybody else. The sister next to you could be living by, a different standard that her husband set, and that's okay. We all have a role to fill in this together. And the sooner we all get comfortable in our roles, the sooner we all know our roles, the sooner we all accept them. Here's the thing, accept them. Because a lot of us are still living in rebellion. A lot of us refuse to accept everything that the Most High has for us. Some of y'all is like almost okay, but you asking me to stop eating shrimp and that's a problem. Some of us are almost okay, but you telling me that the next man I sleep with, that's it for the rest of my life, that's a problem. The world is full of opposition, and the opposition is even going to come from in your household. No, family. Unless you're single and you live in another household. The opposition is going to come from your family. I've had family members who I love very much tell me like, "Oh, well, you doing too much. The girl, it don't matter what they wear." And yeah, it don't matter what they wear until they calling me telling me that somebody done tried them or something. And now you want to scream, shout, and holler. But the fact of the matter is the law is in place for a reason. Common sense exists for a reason, but we've gotten to the point now where we're just so rebellious that we will even ignore common sense. I mean, how many of y'all will go out here and buy a Bentley, a Maybach, and pull up to Quick Trip and leave the doors open? Pull up to Quick Trip, leave the doors open. Leave the key inside too. Because when you as a woman go out here half dressed, that's what you're doing. What do you mean? Because again, no matter how much they try to, fill your head with this feminine nonsense, a man is always going to overpower you. And I know what you're saying. I'm strapped, honey. There have been plenty of people killed and assaulted while they were strapped. The only true protection is in the will of the Most High. Live in the role that the Most High has designated for you, be you single or married. Oh my gosh. Go ahead, Thug Life. Go ahead. In conclusion, let me just say, God,
it slid a lot.
You just came in here and knocked me off the screen and everything.
It slid a lot bigger than I thought it slid.
Lord have mercy. You ain't a little man. What did you think was going to happen?
I thought it was going to slide right here and I was going to ease in.
No, well, that's not what happened. Lord help me. So in conclusion, we'll continue talking about this, but pray. All right, y'all. That's the word of the week. Pray. We're going to work on our prayer lives. We're going to get more talking to the Most High so he can download us with that information on our roles and how they look. And now to introduce to some and present to others, none other than the magnanimous, decent, always sexy, right on time, Monologue Miguel.
What it is, kinfolk?
What's that little clown they used to have? Weeble Wobble. Oh, that's how you came and knocked me over here. Weeble Wobble.
So I'm a weeble wobble now?
No, I'm the Weeble Wobble.
But you don't fall down.
Right. You knocked me over. That's what I'm saying.
What going on, Charlotte? What y'all talking about?
We were just talking about knowing our role as women of the Most High. Oh, you wasn't watching over there?
Yeah, I'm watching.
So don't you?
God dang, you ain't supposed to tell everybody anything. You supposed to just fill me in. Acting like I just popped up. I just came back home from tour.
Oh, that's what we doing? Oh, okay.
I just came back from Africa in Uganda. What y'all talking about over here?
Well, from the garage, we were just talking about knowing our role as women of the Most High. I mean, I was telling them, like, I don't address men, so I can't address any of those issues. But if you have any questions or anything like that, here's a man to ask. Don't be afraid to drop in our DMs. I am at the wife of my wait. Here we go. Okay, the wife of my.
Why you always go behind me? You think it's back there somewhere?
Okay, Monologue Magad. There he is. IG, TikTok. Don't forget the YouTube. Listen, if you're on the YouTube, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Download the Messiah TV app. We are live on Messiah TV every Thursday. Okay, my bad. We're going back.
Keep on talking.
Every Thursday at 8 p.m., 8 to 10, we're live on Messiah TV, and they also have our old episodes on there. So head over to the YouTube, download the app. You can catch up.
All of these things are important, but what we need you guys to do is definitely subscribe to the YouTube. It is the most important thing because right now we are trying to what did I add? Monetize. You know what I'm talking about? We are like less than 400 subscribers away. I think we got enough time, like view time, all that good thing. Listen, we need like less than 400 more subscribers. So please, if you ain't subscribed to the YouTube, go on and do it right now. Do it today. What is you doing with your life? You ain't got no job. You ain't doing nothing anyway.
Everett's College commercial is going on here. Okay. You want to talk about Spirit Israel?
Do y'all have anything for young teenage boys? So what? My son is 17 and can use some guidance. Hey, so check this out. Yes, listen, Spirit Israel. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. We're a little older, man. But we definitely we like to break things down, especially with our teachings. We like to break things down, man. I think we can definitely reach 17-year-olds, but definitely also even with the music, man. Just tune in to the music. Monologue, my God, you know what I'm saying? It's good. I have a 15-year-old son. He hits me up. He likes who that Melrose Monologue in the bed at home, boy. You know what I'm talking about? You already know what it is. Sheesh.
Wrong button.
No, that's what I'm doing. The clock. But like the music, turn them on to the music first. Get them interested in the music. But yeah, our Bible studies, man. But we do have some younger brothers that's coming up in this truth. We're going to be using this podcast studio, man, for more things because we want to reach out to all walks of life. We're going to be doing some business talks on here, Bible study on here. My wife is doing things.
Okay.
So, him to call me and definitely helps. All praise to the Most High. Thank y'all for that. Yes, indeed, sis. Well, all praise to the Most High for that. But yes, my 15-year-old son is gonna be moving in with us soon, man. So sometimes we're gonna be start doing talks with just me and him. Cause like my son hits me up all the time. He just hit me other day, hey Dad, can you send me a list of all the laws we supposed to be keeping? like my son is serious about this. You know what I'm saying? So once he moves in with us, it's gonna be even better because you know you're talking to a bro that's, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't want to say my age, but I'm younger than this woman. But no, what I'm saying is we're going to try to expand this at the House of Mono, so for we can talk to the teenagers, we can talk to the 20s, the 30s, the 40s. We can talk to all of these folks, man. So y'all just stay tuned in, man. As the Most High leads, we gonna keep growing and we gonna keep getting it in. But yes, please tune in to Spirit Filled Israel. Can you put that caption up on the thing? Spirit Filled Israel. Spirit Filled Israel on platforms, on all platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We had a death in the family. So in the Spirit Filled Israel family, and what all the Spirit Filled Israel, we all family. Like this is built on two brothers. We lost a younger brother, man. So we've been offline for a few weeks now, but we will be cranking it back up. So y'all tune in. Please subscribe to the channels. And so we can go ahead and we about to go ahead and crank it back up, man, and get tuned in. So you did an awesome job on tonight, man.
Thank you. So just a rundown for those of y'all who may be new to the House of Mono, aren't familiar with us, please again go check us out on your social media platforms at Monologue McGad. I am the wife of Mono. We do have a couple of businesses that we run over here. Why we don't have to print off? Okay, and most importantly, though, right now as the season is changing, we want to talk to y'all about the Print Doctors, which is our custom t-shirt printing company. We do have a 20-piece minimum, but we start your custom t-shirt orders at $5 each. Please send us an email to the print DRS. Don't spell out doctors. The print DRS at gmail.com. Look us up on Facebook, The Print Doctors. Like and follow, leave us 5 stars, all that good stuff.
Check this out, man. We do have 2 dogs that are pregnant
Yes,
right
that's what I'm about to
now.
say,
Most High
too.
willing. We just had confirmation on one of our females. One of our bitches is pregnant.
One of our females is definitely pregnant. We think the other one might be too.
No, well, we made it them to be pregnant.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it was done on purpose. But, you know.
So 2 of our bitches should be pregnant. Also, if you are willing to send a prayer over for my wife, we want to become pregnant again as well. We have 9 kids. We're trying to go for number 10. If anyone would like to stand in agreement with us, before coming into the truth, we had tubes tied. But we believe that Most High can reverse this. So we want to have another child. We are in agreement. Are we in agreement now? We are fully in agreement. So we will ask if you could, man, send up a prayer. Stand, touch, and agree with us. We want to have another one. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to populate the earth, man, with all these House of Monolites out here. You know what I'm saying?
House of Monolites.
House of Monolites.
Yes, please, y'all. Say a prayer for us. We are trying to.
We practice. We practice a lot. I ain't gonna lie
husband
to
wants
you.
a girl, so
We practice a lot over here at the House of Mono.
Hopefully, the Most High will see fit to bless us.
Thanks.
I don't mind having more than another one. You know.
No, one more.
We
got enough. One. See this. The Lord can't answer our prayer if we if we're not on one accord.
No, I'm just thinking because I prayed for one son and we wound up having 2. So I'm just thinking, he always give me more than what I asked for. So I'm just trying to prepare myself.
No, Lord, we don't want you to give us more than what we asked for, Lord. We want to have one more child, make it an even 10. You know what I'm saying? We would like it to be a little girl. So her little brothers can get their turn.
Because we're wrapping up.
No, I said you can turn it back up. You duck it
3 times.
Hey man, listen. We can go upstairs and practice on this baby.
4 times.
Hey, go ahead.
No, I'm about to wrap up.
I just want to let y'all know, man, that we are the Israelites the Bible speaks of, man. Let's go back and go back to keeping God's law, statutes, and commandments. He said, "Be fruitful and multiply." Sheesh, indeed. And we about to be fruitful.
On behalf of the House of Mono, I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. Hopefully something was said on tonight to help you. Whether you're watching this live or the replay, I just want to thank you so much. Again, my illustrious, magnanimous, oh so sexy, always on time, always present, able, not Kane husband, at Monologue McGad. Please go check out the album, Just Hold On. It's streaming on all platforms. Don't forget about the YouTube. If you're here with us now, please hit the thumbs up button before you leave us. Follow at Mono's Westside Bullies, at the Print Doctors.
Who got a polo cup? Man, tell me. Who got a polo cup like me?
The bootleggery.
Hey, no, this ain't bootleg.
Bootleg
polo, man. Ralph Lauren.
Ralph Lauren did not sign that.
You see Ralph Lauren's name on here? Ralph Lauren. So I got this from. Ralph Lauren sent this to me. Me and him home. Check this out.
After what Kanye said, we ain't friends with Ralph.
I will be in Mississippi next weekend. At the Hebrew Festival. Make sure if you in the area, pull up. Saw that going down 28th through the 30th. You know what I'm talking about? Jackson, Mississippi in the building. Hey. Dressed to the T, smelling like a grand right now. And you ain't got nothing from your hand down. I just fake the hard work, gets it planned out. Sheesh. Who is Mel Ross? Mel Ross, who you is? Because you keep putting that sheesh out there. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know who you is. I don't know nothing about. Mel Ross, who you is, man? Show us who you is, huh? Or it could be a male, could be a female. We don't know who he is, Mel Ross. You know what I'm saying? Could be one of my partners, but you know what I'm saying?
I'm assuming it's one of your partners from the monologue in the building, homeboy.
Monologue in the building, homeboy. It could be a fan. I don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we just want to thank y'all so much. Thank you for spending your time with us. We love you. I appreciate each and every one of y'all that have kicked it with me this evening. Shalom, I love you. Good night.